The following is a Terry Wyce production.
Yes, welcome to All Things Wyce. Welcome to Wyce Thoughts. I'm your humbled host, Terry Wyce, and I am so glad you decided to spend some of your valuable time with me today. Want to make it time well spent as we gather yet again around the virtual campfire. We're going to do the wordsmith word of the episode. And we're also just going to do some general conversation. Let you know what's on my mind here the past week. And one thing I want to talk about definitely on this episode is dealing with haters. How do you deal with people that come at you? Either with what they think is constructive feedback and you don't, or vice versa. It's all coming up this time on Wyce Thoughts. Stick around. Thank you, I think. Who the heck did that promo, Mr. Producer Extraordinaire, huh? That's oh boy. All right, I guess so. But hey, everybody, welcome to the program. Welcome to Wyce Thoughts. Yeah, I like this. This is rocking. All right, enough of that silly nonsense. But hey, if you want to check out my website, it's wycethoughts.com. Just make sure you spell my name right. W-Y-C-E. wycethoughts.com. There you can listen to each and every episode of the podcast. And you can email me and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah, that's a little too loud. There we go. Thank you. And you can listen to every episode of the podcast as well. It's all over waiting for you at wycethoughts.com. And what else? I'm on, well, it's now known as X, but before it was known as Twitter. I used to say you can tweet at me on Twitter, but now you can, I don't know what kind of catchy phrase I could come up with for X, but I'm on X at Terry Wyce, on X. Hey there, hi there, ho there, campers and fans and people of all ages and all around the world. Welcome yet again to another campfire sit-down that we lovingly refer to as Wyce Thoughts. I am so glad you're here today. And as promised, we are going to do the wordsmith word of the episode. We're going to get that coming up here for you in just a bit. So stand by for that. And again, the YouTube channel. I wanted to talk a little bit about the YouTube channel here as well, but I'll talk about that in a bit. First, let's do the wordsmith word of this episode. All right. So the wordsmith word of this episode is, let's see if we can get it to go here.
Alacrity.
Alacrity. Let's hear that again so we know how to pronounce it.
Alacrity.
All right. So it's alacrity, and that's spelled Alacrity. And it's a noun. It means brisk and cheerful readiness. So let's say, let's grab an example sentence. Let's see. The class responded to the pop quiz with a surprising alacrity. Okay, brisk or cheerful readiness. I don't know many students that were happy to get tests or quizzes. Were you in high school? I sure wasn't. Anyway, let's try another use sentence here. Where is it? I tried to complete my chores with alacrity because it makes the time pass by faster. All right. It's Latin, and it's from the word origin is Latin from the mid 15th century. And again, that word was called alacrity, and it's pronounced like this.
Alacrity.
There you go. So there you go. That is the Wordsmith word of the episode. So now you can go back out into the public and feel great about yourself and say, look at my big brain. I know all kinds of stuff. Yay, go me. So what else? So yeah, before we jump into the more information on today's program, I know I'm just kind of scatterbrained today, Mr. Producer Extraordinaire. I really am. I wanted to talk to you about the YouTube channel, Wyce Thoughts. If you do a search for Wyce Thoughts on YouTube, and over the past couple weeks, it has really jumped up in viewership and growth, and more people are signing up, becoming a subscriber on YouTube. So yeah, check that out, Wyce Thoughts, W-Y-C-E, Wyce Thoughts on YouTube, and check out, there's all kinds of videos over there. I do instructional videos. I do a lot of music-oriented stuff. On bass guitar. I'm going to try and get a piano one up one of these days too. Maybe we'll work on that in the next 2 weeks, Mr. Producer Extraordinaire. Get a kind of a introduction to piano for those who want to learn how to play the piano as well. I dabble in that. I dabble in a bit of everything, but I'm a novice in all and an expert in nothing. I guess that would be probably the easiest way to say it. But I'll tell you what, since its inception, not that long ago, right now, we're sitting at about 224 subscribers, which that's cool. I appreciate that. I really do. It's fantastic, you know. And some of the other nice things about it, too, is we've gotten lots of views. 58,000. I'm looking at the channel right now. As of the taping of this episode of the podcast here, coming up on the first week of October 2023, 58,460 views. That's pretty good. That's not bad at all. 58,000 views. I truly appreciate it. And if you look again, Wyce Thoughts is just, do at Wyce Thoughts, and you can mosey on over to the YouTube channel. And one other thing too, but I know I'm hitting you with a lot of garbage in the beginning, and apologies for that. But if you go to the website now, because I had some people email me and reach out and say, hey Terry, you always talk about your blog on the website, and you call it Wyce Life, W-Y-C-E, Wyce Life. Where is it? It just says blog on your website. So I had the old webmaster fix that here this week. So now at the very top, when you go to Wyce Thoughts, you got home, episodes, about, and right next to that, Wyce Life, where I wax poetic and write a blog here and there. I intermittently pop in there. It's something that I'm going to have to put on the call sheet to do here more frequently. Maybe get at least two uploads or entries. That's what the word I'm looking for. Uploads. Entries into the Wyce Life blog at wycethoughts.com. There you get the contact information, yada, yada. Now, the other thing people have mentioned about the website, too, at wycethoughts.com is they said, hey, T, it says tweets from Terry Wyce, and it has the X logo, but it says nothing to see here yet. But if you click the view on Twitter, it takes you right to my Twitter page. I'm not sure what's going on with that. We'll have to talk to the webmaster and see what's what. But if you go over on X, formerly known as Twitter, you'll see that I put a poll up, too, on what do you like, spring, summer, winter, or fall? And you can, post your reply into there for that as well and see, and we can follow that and see how that goes. All right? So that's good. Great. So there. Now, I think we got all that stuff out of the way. Excuse me. And good old, you got to love fall allergies, don't you? You just got to love them. Anywho. Fall allergies are the best. Doo-da. Anyway, all that stuff is done. Welcome one and all to Wyce Thoughts. I truly appreciate your listenership, each and every one of you. So just wanted to let you know that you are appreciated here. The other places might not tell you that, but I do. Okay? I appreciate each and every one of you, and I thank you for listening to said program. So what do we want to talk about today? What's been on my mind? Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about dealing with your haters, okay? And what I mean by that, what we're going to talk about is how do you handle the adversity when someone just kind of gets up in your grill, And I'm not talking just physically. Okay? I'm talking also when someone decides that they're going to be nasty to you, let's say online or in person, not physically, but just, you do something, let's say, let me pick an example here to try and make this more understandable. Let's say you work on writing a piece of poetry and you submit it online. Maybe you put it on your social media page, okay? And you're proud of it. You worked hard on it. You've taken that leap of faith and you decided, hey, I'm going to put this out there for everyone to, enjoy because I'm proud of it. And you get some trolls coming along, as they're bound to do, unfortunately. There's just people out there that are like this that will just rip you to shreds. And they might not even have read the piece, or maybe they did and they just want to crap all over your, your submission. Now, just so you know, okay? Just so you know, you got to let it roll off, man. Take it for what it is. Let it roll off your back, like water off a duck's back, as the saying goes. Because there's going to be a lot of people, and I've experienced this myself many times throughout my life, not just here and there. I'm talking many times. Because as someone who aspires to be artful, artistic, not autistic, artistic. And what I mean by that is I like writing. I like making music. I like expressing ideas. I like doing things like this, podcasts. Hell, I was doing stuff like this in the 70s, and it wasn't called a podcast. It was taking your cassette tape recorder, putting it in front of a record speaker, playing some music, and then, with a microphone, with a little plug-in microphone, pulling away, and then doing pretend radio shows. I used to do it with my sister when I was younger, and then friends as we got older and stuff. And maybe those of you who've been here enough and listened to enough episodes know that I was in radio for a while and just didn't like the whole corporate thing of it. And quite frankly, I made some mistakes in judgment as well. I probably could have been still working in radio if I wanted to be. However, there's certain things that I was immature about at the time and certain things I just didn't want to tolerate. I have a very selective threshold, shall I say. And there's just certain things that I won't tolerate, things I won't deal with. And I had some other obligations. But anyway, I've regaled that story many a time on the podcast here on the show. So you can search back through some episodes on that if you'd like. I'm trying to think of any that have that. Anyway, that's not the important point here I'm trying to make. It's that being an artistic person, being artistic, you really open yourself up for criticism. And you have to be able and you have to be willing to endure and understand that it's going to come, both good-intentioned and ill-intentioned. And what I mean by that is some people are going to say, well, you know what? That song, it's just not my cup of tea, man. I'm not into jazz, or I'm not into country, or I'm not into metal, or whatever. Or some might say, well, your song was interesting. It was okay. I would have done this, and that. That's constructive feedback. However, when you get some of these trolls out here, and you know who you are, trolls, these bots and mostly trolls, just people that I have very little respect for that just want to crap all over your parade. Instead of offering constructive criticism, will just say the most ignorant, asinine things to you. And I deal with it all the time. And I'm sure you do it in different degrees as well as I do. And I'm not coming here to whine and cry and complain about, nobody ever better criticize me, boo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Nothing like that. It's a matter of just people wanting to crap all over you just for the sake of being jerks. All right, being children, or lacking something in their life that they feel they have to lash out at others. And, hey, some people just aren't mature enough to handle responsibility of interacting with other people. And you have to learn how to just take that stuff and just brush it off your shoulders. Say, bye-bye, don't need you. And put it in your rearview mirror. And I'll admit, and I know some of you out there right now are shaking your head saying, yeah, Terry, that's all great advice, buddy. Yeah, it's great. But sometimes the things people say are so disgusting or, there was a self-help guru that passed away quite a few years ago by the name of Wayne Dyer. Look this man up. He was very insightful. I'll be all right as soon as I learn how to speak. He was very, very insightful and offered a lot of pragmatic, good, solid, foundational advice. And one of the primary things that I've learned early on by listening to Wayne Dyer is that he was giving a lecture, and I don't know where it was. It was an audio lecture I was listening to. And he said, when in times of stress, in times of self-doubt, when someone is coming at you hard, he says, I want you to think about, and he regaled this tale. He says, take an orange. And if you put an orange in your hand and squeeze it as hard as you can, he says, what is going to come out of it? And the audience was kind of, watching him. And somebody yelled out, orange juice. He says, correct. He says, you can squeeze all you want that orange you're holding in the palm of your hand, but nothing but orange juice is going to come out of that. It's not going to, wine isn't going to come out of that. Apple juice isn't going to come out of that orange that you're squeezing. Lemon juice is not going to come out of that orange that you're squeezing. What's going to come out of that orange that you're squeezing is orange juice. And he says, what that means is when you're squeezed, whether it's a work deadline, family deadline, stress, someone's making you angry, what's going to come out of you is what's on the inside of you. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Wow. And I know it's common sense, duh, but hearing it outside from a third-party perspective, and I went, wow, yeah, okay. And it really started making me think. Times when I get angry, times when I get frustrated, times when I get stressed and overworked, overburdened, run down, what comes out of me? And then I began to go to work. And I'm still, and it's an everyday process, my friends. It's an everyday process on what you have that will come out of you instinctively when you're stressed, angry, upset, frustrated, run down, heartbroken. What comes out of you, the words you say, how you react instinctively is what at its core is inside of you. And that's what you want to reflect on. And then what you want to say, okay, here's what I need to work on. Because if somebody cuts me off in traffic and I'm automatically running on my own, screaming and yelling at them, flipping them the bird, there's anger inside of me. There's a lot of anger inside of me, and I got to work on that. Or if any time a tough conversation needs to be had, whether it's with a friend, a lover, a family member, a colleague, a coworker, and you just back away and don't have that conversation and just let the situation that you need to address with them continue to go on, and you practice avoidance, that's what's coming out of you. That's what you have to work on. Or maybe you're one of these people that are easily offended by the slightest thing. And boy, don't we have a lot of that in today's society in the U.S., don't we, Americans? A lot of you out there that, if your peanut butter doesn't match your jelly, wow, man, you lose your minds, and right away you're easily offended by anything and everything. You've got something going on inside you. You've got something unfulfilled. You've got something that you need to address. And again, I am not claiming any moral high ground here. I am not preaching down at a pulpit from high at a pulpit or on a soapbox to you. I've got things, and I work on mine daily. Daily. I'm not where I want to be, but I sure as hell ain't where I used to be. And that's a good thing. Every day that if you can improve just a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, eventually you're going to get to those moments of clarity. You're going to get to those moments, those aha moments where you say, hey, somebody cut me off in traffic and I didn't lose my mind. I just kind of laughed and said, well, hey, maybe they're, who knows what's going on in their world, but let them get in front of me. At least they're not behind me. They're in front of me so I can see if I may drive erratically or whatever. Or someone makes a flippant remark at you on maybe, some work you put up, whether it's a piece of poetry, a short story, or a song or something, and you put it up, let's say, on a YouTube channel or in an avenue of social media, and the haters come out and start attacking you. Because, boy, don't they love to dogpile, don't they? The haters love to dogpile and get in their little tribe. It makes them feel good inside for about 90 seconds. You can just kind of look at it and laugh and go, wow, that's an interesting comment. And you'll be able to learn and discern and filter out feedback that would be beneficial to you, both whether it's good or bad, and feedback that is just utter nonsense. And that's something I'm practicing as well with the YouTube channel and social media and a few things. As far as social media goes, I had a personal channel, not one dedicated to the podcast or anything like that, but I had a personal channel that I took some advice from a good friend that I recently reconnected with that I hadn't talked to in almost 40 years. And we reconnected on Facebook. And I noticed right away that this person did not have any friends on their Facebook profile. So I'm like, is this actually the person? Because, there's a lot of scam accounts out there that want to steal your Facebook info. But they reached out to me and said, hey, here's my phone number. Said some things that I knew back when I knew this person, only they would know. And he says, if you want to give me a holler sometime, by holler, give me a phone call sometime. So we talked, and we talked for a couple hours. And I asked him, I said, hey, is there any particular reason, I saw your Facebook profile, it's just very limited. And he says, but you don't seem to have any friends. I said, what's up with that? And he says, well, to be honest with you, Terry, he says, I don't do any friends on Facebook with anybody, friends, relatives, coworkers. He says, I just follow pages of topics that interest me, and I interact in those groups. And he says, I find that is a lot more mentally freeing and mentally fulfilling and enjoyable because I interact in groups that I want to be a part of, and most of the groups on Facebook won't allow any kind of shenanigans and goofiness and baloney to go on. And he says, and they're on topics that I truly want to discuss and interact with people, and everybody seems in those groups to be more respectful than in the general open space of the social media platform on Facebook. Because if anybody gets out of hand on those groups, they're just immediately, if the group's worth its weight in salt and the moderator is on the ball, they're done. They kick them out and they're blocked and that's it. And I said, And he goes, yeah. He says, I tried the traditional Facebook way with, friends with your family, friends with a few coworkers, friends, but then you got friends of friends coming on there and maybe commenting on a post you made about a baseball game or a football game or maybe something, socially that you posted on, and it might be an all innocent type thing, but then you got the friends of the friends jumping on and started, he says, and I had it happen to me a couple times and I said, you know what? Nah, I'm not going through this. I ain't going through this baloney. And I'm like, that's a very good idea because I've had instances like that in the past. In fact, if you go back about a year ago, during the summer, I had taken a break from social media for a good week or so. I was doing that, and I was advising a lot of people to do the same thing. Just take a break from social media. And it was very, very, very fulfilling. I couldn't believe how fulfilling it was. My mental health after like the third day improved, because you can get stuck in those algorithms. I still get stuck now on the YouTube, on the shorts, the YouTube shorts things and stuff like that. And I don't really do TikTok, but I know some of that stuff comes from TikTok. But I can still go down that rabbit hole. So I decided on my personal Facebook page to just kind of go the nuclear option, I guess you could say. And I just wiped it all out, per se, as far as friends, relatives, and family, and said, you know what? This is definitely a better option for me. And I did it. And it's been a little while now. And I inform people, say, because I've had people ask me, hey, I don't see you on Facebook anymore. You're not showing up in my feed. Did your account get hacked or something like that? And I'm like, nope. I said, to be quite candid, no offense to you. I said, but too many friends of friends were jumping on my posts and like sticking their nose in things that weren't their business. And instead of just fighting with those people and fending them off and blocking them individually, it's just not worth my time to do silly nonsense like that. So I just figured, you know what? I'm just going to follow pages on Facebook and interact with groups. And I kind of explained to them what I just explained to you all here. And they're like, oh. And believe it or not, since then, I've had 2 people that I've talked to about this that have done the same thing. And their experience has been similar to mine. They said, you know what? It's a much better experience. I'm following groups and pages of topics that interest me. For myself, I'm in a bunch of music-related groups, nostalgia era of the 70s and 60s, and 80s groups, some reading groups and things of that nature. I just find it more enjoyable experience not getting all the flack and the outside noise and the algorithm trying to pump certain agendas at me. And I think it really has contributed a great deal overall to mental health since I've done that. I don't have the energy nor the wherewithal to fight with people on social media. I don't know about you, but there's really nothing you're going to say to somebody to say, oh yeah, you're right on that. I could have an intellectual discussion about this band, this guitarist, this bass player, this technique in music, this book I read, this movie I saw. I can have intellectual discussions with that, and we can definitely have different viewpoints on it, because let's face it, I'm not seeing it through your eyes, hearing it through your ears, or experiencing it through your body and your consciousness. But there's way too many yokels out there that just would rather be haters and just stir the pot, as my parents used to say and grandparents. They just want to stir it. Well, they call it the shit pot. They just want to stir the shit pot because they get off on just creating chaos. And I don't have time for people like that in my life. I've got too many other things I want to do and sit around at a keyboard, tap all day, and argue with people that aren't probably either most likely misrepresenting themselves. I have a feut trolls every once in a while show up on the YouTube channel. I had just one for a video I put up here in the past week that made a smart-ass comment, and I'm just like, I ignored it. I didn't even respond, didn't ban the person or nothing. I'll leave it up there, whatever. Hey, man, you're entitled to your opinion, but I just ignore you. I don't engage with you, and I don't acknowledge with you. That's fine. And I don't do the same to others. I don't say, if I have feedback, or I'll say, hey, try this, that. I try to be positive as much as I can in certain things. And that's just the way I roll, and that's the way I want to live my life, and that's the way I'm going to live my life. My wife. That's the way I'm going to live it, man. And that's the best way to do it. Because at the end of the day, my friends, your peace of mind is what matters. You got to be looking at the mirror and living with you, and respect who you see in that mirror when you're staring back at yourself. If you want to really know what you think of yourself, I heard this too in an audiobook. And when you get up in the morning, when you go to the mirror, right in the morning, just stare in the mirror for 2 minutes in silence and look at yourself. Your mind will start telling you what you really think of you. You have to be able to live with yourself. And that's the way I'm trying to live my life going forward. So that's how I deal with haters. thanks for dropping by today. If you got any questions or comments on the program, email me, mail@wycethoughts.com. Make sure you check out the YouTube channel, Wyce Thoughts. Look for me on X, formerly known as Twitter, @Terry Wyce, and check out the website, wycethoughts.com. Hey, thanks for listening to the program today. I truly appreciate each and every one of you out there. And remember, to see a change in the world, you have to be the change in the world you want to see. It all starts with you, the person looking back at you in the mirror every morning. Remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others. If you want to tweet at me on Twitter, it's @Terry Wyce. Stop by the website, wycethoughts.com, just to make sure you spell my name right, W-Y-C-E, wycethoughts.com. And hey, leave us a positive rating and review on your favorite podcast provider, won't you? Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your pets about Wyce Thoughts. And I look forward to gathering yet again around the virtual campfire with you real soon. Take care.